Hello and welcome to Conversations from 6 Feet. This is our way of getting some information to those of you who are listening in at home or wherever you're at. We want to give you some helpful suggestions that will help you get through this virus situation that we're all in. And it's great to bring in some people who are experts on different things that we're asking, different types of questions that we're asking. And so thank you, Sheila Cox, for coming in. You've been such a great covenant partner for the years that I've been here. And we actually moved to the area at about the same time.
I know, isn't that right?
That was really kind of a wild thing. Yeah. Sheila, of course, is a neighbor of mine and Joy's, and it's been great to get to know you. And we're in the life group together, and you and Tom are making your way through this, as we all are. You're also a member of the choir,
yes.
Sanctuary Choir, and you'll be singing in the ensemble.
Looking forward to that.
Look forward to having you at worship on Sundays. And then you're also a part of the associate pastor search team. And
I am.
Yeah,
very excited.
And we won't get into all that. I know that's something we can't really talk about. It's very secret. But one of the things that I'd like to for you just to share a little bit is just tell us a teeny bit about yourself, and then maybe how this is affecting you and Tom back at home.
Sure. Happy to. Well, a couple of things. One is that I'm an expert in helping employees stay positive, proactive, and productive in times of change and upheaval. And wow, is there a bigger time of change and upheaval than right now? I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So I've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of changes from clients, from friends, from colleagues, in terms of what do you do in this situation? So I've been taking to doing things more virtually. So that's meant doing things like this, where we videotape, doing Facebook Lives. And one of the challenges I've run into is that I'm working from my home and my husband isn't able to go too many places. And so we're having a sound challenge. I said, honey, you can't have the TV up really loud while I'm doing a Facebook Live. So he actually ran off today, Tom, to go over to Costco and buy a Bluetooth-enabled TV so he can listen on his headphones. So
the electronics industry is flourishing right now.
Right, exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure that so many of us are going through the same types of things at home, and so it's really neat. Thanks for sharing that little bit about what's going on there. Since you're an expert in change, wanted to get your insights on a couple of questions that people are asking. One of the things that we've talked a lot about at Bethel 200 is Bethel 200, and you've been very helpful in the initial stages of helping us understand more about the communication behind that. Two things that are absolute kind of foundational pillars to the whole of Bethel 200 is connect consistently. To be disciplined about connecting consistently with each other and with God. And then a value called biblical relationships with authenticity. And these two things right now, I think, we have some amazingly creative ways to go about doing that. And I just wanted to get your input here. What do you think is most important for our folks, and maybe even their friends, to hear right now about staying connected in authentic ways?
Yeah. Well, I feel very strongly about this. I think in terms of staying connected, it's important to be proactive and to proactively connect. So a lot of people are saying, well, hey, if you have a problem, give me a call, or here's a number to go to. And that doesn't really work. We need to be reaching out. And so in terms of the church, the most important thing is to make sure that we are continuing to get together, even though it's virtually, to support each other, to pray with one another. And I strongly recommend that you do that live with some video capability, because that makes it more personal and it makes it more supportive. And it may seem like a silly thing, but just today I was talking to some of my clients and saying, get everybody out of their PJs. And if you're connecting live, it's a reason to get dressed. It's a reason to smile. It's a reason to put on your best face and really connect with people. So as a church, we need to be reaching out. We've got life groups that are too big to meet because we're more than 10 people, but we can have live conversations. We can have Zoom conversations where everybody's up there, and we can pray together. It's wonderful to email each other with our prayers, but there's a certain value in having a live prayer and speaking together. And whatever your pace was about connecting, step it up. So as an example, I used to talk to my sister every week, or maybe every other week. We've been talking much more frequently, every day or every other day now, because the need for connection is much higher. And people sometimes don't bring up when they have issues, needs, or concerns. Right. So the only way to know if that's going on is to stay connected and to know what's happening with people. And I always tease, you can't just say, hey, are you okay? Because you're going to get a one-word response. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, fine.
No. So you have to be much more open-ended.
Yeah, good one.
What's the biggest challenge you're dealing with right now?
Okay.
Oh, tell me more about that. Yeah. To truly find out, you talk about biblical relationships with authenticity. You have to ask the questions and hear the responses.
That's fantastic. And thanks for that. One of the challenges I think some of the people at Bethel and their friends are facing, some of our older folks aren't as connected digitally. Some of them are fantastic. I've talked to a couple of our folks, and they're in their late 80s and early 90s, and they are on it. They're loving this, actually. But that's not the case for all of our folks and some of their friends. So what would you say is important there?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is to connect live, so that can be the phone, because most people do know how to use the phone, even if they don't have Skype or Zoom capability. Okay. So talk to people live and have a personal connection. If you are still able to drive and you don't want to visit somebody who's homebound, you can put a plant on their doorstep or a picture on their doorstep.
What a neat idea.
You can surround it in plastic and spray it, but let them know that you're thinking of them and call them and let them know what you've left. For many years, when my dad couldn't read anymore, I would send him postcards. And so giving somebody a little picture or a postcard or a handwritten note, something personal, so that they know that you're thinking of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great suggestions. And I think very tuned into some of the very practical questions people are asking right now, not just at their homes, but in businesses apparently as well.
Yeah.
Sheila, we talk about cabin fever, and very briefly, what maybe insights can you give us that, without unpacking them too much, but what insights do you have that as people try to stay resilient in this weird time, what would you say about that?
Well, it may sound silly, but I will tell you, get out of your PJs. Okay. If you're in your PJs right now, go take a shower and get dressed. The first few days that you're home and you're in your sweats and your PJs or whatever, it can feel like it's a slumber party, it's kind of fun, but that gets old real fast. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that when we see ourselves in the mirror, what we see reflects what we think about ourselves inside. And so if you're not really sick, then don't dress like you're sick. Dress like you're a productive, happy member of society, and keep productive. So one of the things that's really important is to make sure that you have some things that you're working on that make a contribution. Now, there are different types of people. There are some people who have a job and they need to find ways to continue to contribute right now. There are some people who are retired, who have need to find ways to contribute in other ways. And so I recommend, as you look at your day, think about, what am I going to wear today? What am I going to do today to be productive? And what am I going to do today to connect? Those three things. Find a reason to get up and get dressed and get going. find somebody that you're going to connect with, at least one person each day, and look at how you can contribute. So it may be a different way of contributing right now. And I know as we talked, you've got some ideas for people at church on how to contribute.
But I was thinking, I can't just go around for weeks and not shave anymore.
Well, it's interesting. You may have noticed that at least two people come to mind who, when they didn't make it as president or when they were voted out, they grew beards.
That's true.
And very often it can be a sign of unhappiness.
Okay.
Now, it's not always true, but if you were clean shaven and now you're suddenly growing a beard, if you're not out camping, it can be a negative thing.
Oh, I'll keep myself. I was thinking about that today, actually.
Well,
when I was in front of the mirror.
For men, it's shaving. For women, it's doing their hair, and for many women, it's putting on makeup. But it's making sure that you are presentable. And it's so funny, I laugh because you mentioned that I sing, and I sing with a group called Magnify. And our director was chastising us when we weren't singing the notes. Now, we were singing in harmony.
Okay.
We were harmonizing, we weren't singing what was written. And he said, the audience may not know, but God's going to know.
Gotcha.
And God,
Good point.
God's going to know if you've got a positive mental attitude and you're taking care of yourself and you're ready for whatever the day brings. Because you may suddenly get a call where somebody's asking you to come over to your next door neighbor and help them.
Sure.
Or go pick up somebody's groceries. And do you want to say no because you haven't showered or shaved or gotten dressed? You want to be ready.
That's right. Well, we've gone over our 5 minutes today, but this was very good. No, these are very good things to bring up, and you're right. We will be, a big part of our Sunday services now is going to be driven by a call to action and discipleship. And so every Sunday you'll be seeing a lot of different opportunities in the bulletin that's going to be online. And in your worship at home groups, you'll have an opportunity to look at those opportunities that we have, sign up for them. We're taking sign-up geniuses. We're trying to mobilize as many people in Bethel out in this community with a lot of projects. And our serve team has done a great job. We have a serve team captain right now, a worship at home serve captain, and that's Beth Lester, and she's very pumped up about this. So we've got people who are energized right now. And giving people a lot of things to do, I think, is a very important thing. Sheila, thanks really for coming and joining us and spending some of your very valuable time here with your congregational family, even though it's virtually.
I know.
We appreciate you. And thank you all for joining us. And we look forward to our next series of conversations at 6 Feet.